So we've heard about international expansion, various models being used from syndication through to acquisition. And our next speaker has a really good insight into how to grow a media brand internationally. He is the MD of Digital Brands International for Burda in Germany. Please welcome Martin Weiss.
All right, thank you very much, and welcome everyone. It's fantastic to be at the conference today. I haven't been to a conference like this in years, to tell you the truth. And there were always quite sad affairs in 2005, 2006. The talk was always about how are we going to cope, how are we going to transform, how the hell are we going to get this done against the Googles and then later on the Facebooks of this world. The tone that I've seen today has been completely different. There have been tons of success stories, and the narrative really is, look what we've done, look what we've achieved, look how we really turned this thing around, and look how we built new businesses. And it's really quite heartwarming to see all of that success in our industry. When we look at that success, the conference organizers invited me to speak, so whether we are part of that success, I'll let you be the judge of that. I assume this here is the clicker, indeed. So who and what is Burda? Anybody remember Thomas Jefferson, 1776, the American Declaration of Independence? He actually nicked the concept of David Hume, 1752, the pursuit of happiness. This is what we really are about, a very old and analog idea, and we try to transport that to the future. The person you see here is Anne Burda, born in 1909 in rural Baden-Württemberg, and she was the person to take over a very sort of loss-making, fledgling sewing pattern business, having 3 kids straight after the war, and she made it a huge success. She brought that to 120 countries, and millions of people became happy by basically reading her publication, and then for the very first time in their lives being able to design new dresses after the war, and then in the decades of growth following that. And Anne Burda was somebody who provided happiness by allowing women to, for the first time, really be on top of fashion and create fashion at very, very low cost. That pursuit of happiness is something that drives us to today, and this pursuit of happiness is something that we at Burda hold very, very dear to our hearts. On the back of that, over the years, we've built a fairly sizable business, and there is now over 40 million paying consumers of our media products. There's 165 million users in 19 countries. And so what we've done is we've taken that DNA and really tried to make it work around the globe. Currently, we are in, as I said, 19 countries, a heavy footprint in Europe, in Eastern Europe, but also in Asia, Brazil, and the United States. The question is, how have we actually done this, and how have we transformed that pursuit of happiness into that sizable business? Well, what we focus on, sort of when you look at companies, you will always find org charts that give you the sort of the lay of the land. Our true org chart really is this. We are organized like this. We have elements of passion that people really are passionate about. And each and every one of us is passionate about some of these things. For me personally, it is less the lifestyle and fashion and beauty. It's more the food and, you know, my wife says the working. There is entertainment, gardening, all sorts of passions that we have centered our activities around. And this was true in the publishing era in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, when Burda grew the publishing side of the business, but it is also true today. So when we think about our digital footprint and when we think about developing digital businesses, it has to be close to a passion. And this is an investment thesis that we follow through to this day. Where has that taken us? Well, in 2005, We did about 5% of our business in digital. Today, it's more than 60%. And this is consolidated revenues according to some accounting standard. If you really look at the true size of the business and the turnover that we care about, Burda by now is over 75% digital revenues, and we expect that to be 80% very soon. Now, how have we done that? How have we actually attempted it? We started out by using the basic business models in advertising, and let me tell you, it's been a rocky road. In the early 2000s, we invested tons and tons in content, tried to bring it online, and basically developed a business model on the back of that, and that, of course, led absolutely nowhere. Today, we have some online publications that are highly profitable and that are growing. But what we, of course, have done over the years is we have invested in new business models, and we've really diversified the base of what we do. Now, this road has been a rocky road, as I said, and there were some spectacular failures along the line. In 1998, Bill Gates went up to Hubert Burda and said, by the way, Hubert Burda, do you know that your publishing business is actually going to be toast? The internet is going to eat all of that. So Hubert Burda came back to Germany, and he started something that was called Europe Online. America Online, get it? Well, 100 million German marks later, and 12 months later, the company was nearly bust. And of course, that was a spectacular failure, and there were some other failures after that. But by and large, we sort of held the line and said, we are going to invest into that digital world, and there are some things that we've learned from our failures, and there are some things that we put down our money into that worked really well. We had a very early focus on commerce, so we started selling things. We're one of the original founders and financiers of a company called Zoo Plus, largest pet food retailer in the world. We went to back a user-generated content company called Holiday Check, a company that now sells more than €1 billion worth of holiday travel in the marketplace. We started and financed something called Cyberport, which is a transaction business and is now, after Amazon, the largest seller of laptops in the German market. We invested in the United States in a company called Mode Media, which is long-tail advertising, and one of the largest long-tail advertisers, Comscore #7 in the United States. And we started investing in a young company in 2007, I think it was our first financing, into a company called Etsy, which of course was the largest tech IPO on the East Coast in 2015. So over the years, we experimented with business models, and I think this is really what has been our guiding beacon in investing into this space. Trial and error, try out new things, and give new things a chance. Independent teams that were very good at monetizing new opportunities, independent teams that, away from the print world, were able to focus on passions and on communities in a way that we, as a print publisher, were not. So if you look at our company today, what I find most insightful is you actually break it down into business models and see where Hubert Burda Media makes its money. The CPM eyeballs business today is only 15% of the business. The rest is services, very much transaction-driven, both on the e-commerce side, that's 36%, and 13% on a cost per order or a rev share logic. And then copy and subscription, which accounts for the rest. Of course, a large subscription business we have in there, a company in Germany here called Xing, very comparable to the American LinkedIn. A company that is publicly quoted, a company that we deeply believed in, bought our way into. The market cap of that is currently roughly at around €1 billion. So we basically took, and this again is the passion for work. So we basically looked at new business models, at existing passions, and said, what is it that we can do? What is it that we can invest in? And not think it from the old world of print publication. Therefore, what we find today at Hubert Burda Media is we're no longer a media company. We're no longer a publishing house. where we are, and this is very much our DNA today, we are a media and technology holding company that invests money into really, really good teams, into really, really good technology, where we are able to leverage our strength of the old business into new business models. I'd like to take my remaining 6 or 7 minutes to sort of lead you through a couple of the things that we've done in the past 12 months and where we've put our money. So the question is, how do we now actually want to enlarge the circle of passion and our investment portfolio? The first company I'd like to tell you about is a company called Vintagecom. Who's heard of Vintagecom? Hands up? Anyone? All right. There's a young 17-year-old lady back there who has heard of it. Fabrizio, thank you very much. Okay, Vintagecom is the world's largest platform for young women between the age of 16 and 30 to sell clothing. Now, this is very close to the old Burda idea of providing happiness to young women, and we help them to look good. In fact, there's 2.5 million young women every month who check this site. There's about 600,000 of them every day who on average spend 45 minutes a day on the platform. They use it to chat, they use it to exchange views, and they use it to look for new clothing. They want to look good, and then they transact. They actually swap clothes and they buy and sell clothes on the platform. It's a team that was founded 2008 in Lithuania, a company with about 250 people. And this really goes to the heart of what we're trying to achieve at Burda. It is the passion for fashion. It is an element of happiness that we provide to the customers. It's very tech-driven, and it's very close to what we've been doing in the past. We really think we understand the target group. And this is where we've invested 24 million euros last year in actually financing that platform. The second company I'd like to quickly talk about is a company in Chicago, Blitziecom. Now, what we really liked about this company is it's sort of a no-bullshit Midwestern e-commerce team that do something very, very special. They take content and in the crafting space, so this is about 85% paper crafting. So you want to do your Halloween decoration. There are instructional videos that tell you how to do it. And what you then do is you can actually put all of the elements that are in the video, put them into a basket, and actually shop that with Blitziecom. It's a rapidly growing business. They're expanding. We provided financing in their Series B, and very happy to, if they continue along their track, to back them further. We come from a crafting background, so we are very sort of proud of our crafting heritage, and we believe there's a team in Chicago who really can take this to the next level. Again, the passion for projects, the passion for crafting, and a very fun and entertaining website to take this to the next level. Now, the next company I'd like to tell you about is a company called Showroom. Showroom is a slightly unusual investment because it's one of the few early-stage investments that we actually did that was successful. We've done lots of early-stage investments. Usually they failed. Showroom was founded by two Polish guys in Warsaw who had a small business running on the side that was selling independent fashion as an agency for fashion designers in Poland on Facebook. So they were actually trying to sell dresses on Facebook, and they did this sort of as a consulting gig, and they found out that this really got traction. So they approached Burda and said, could you back us in actually building a network and building a platform business to bring independent designers to the front of the stage in Poland? And our Polish team didn't think long, invested in the company, and it's been a really, really good success so far. They've grown their gross merchandise value by leaps and bounds, and then in the fall of last year, Burda, as a company, actually helped them to internationalize their business. They entered the German market. And again, it goes back to the heart of what we do. and I hope you see the sort of the trend emerging. Independent teams, really good entrepreneurs, completely independent of any of the legacy business, but very much working in the vertical that we think is, that we know something about and that we think is promising, with a very disruptive and innovative model. If you're a young designer and you want to sell clothing these days, what you do is you go to stores and you try to make a name for yourself, and you need to give away about 50% of the revenues to the retailer, and then you still haven't done any marketing. Now, if you sell on Showroom, it's about 20–25% that you give away, and you get tons of branding with it, and you get Burda as a partner with it. So this is a really successful model. The next investment I'd like to talk about is from a different walk of the world and a different walk of the value chain. We invested in something called a company called Coq in Vietnam. It's a bunch of ex-Yandex guys from Russia who developed a search engine, because that's what they're good at. And they started that in the local Vietnamese market. They're holding about a 30% market share against Google in that market, and they're growing that market share against Google. So it's a really, really good search technology, and we are helping them to monetize that search engine. Now, some of you in the German market may have heard last week we launched our own browser. We have about 85–90 engineers from 28 countries working in Munich on our own search technology. Right now, it's a company called Clicks, and the value proposition of that is to give really good search results, relevant search results, but to really take care of your data. So you're not being tracked, your data is not being sold, and it conforms to privacy laws in a completely different way than you currently find with the other search engines or with the other browsers. Now, we had I think, a very good team of technology engineers in Munich who were able to assess that opportunity in Vietnam, and along the search route expect us to do more investments in the coming years. So summing it up, so what are the guiding thoughts that we have? Well, the first one is hands-off early stage investments. 80% of startups will fail, and we corporates are terrible at failing. Going to your boss and saying, oh, by the way, I just wrote off 8 out of my 10 investments. Isn't that great? You're not going to win a lot of applause. Now, if you're a partner in a VC firm, you know, that's just the run of the day. That is what happens, and that is naturally accepted. We as corporates are terrible at early stage, and we should very much keep away from that. The second, if we look at new companies, those companies out there are currently owned by other people, and those people are VCs. Venture capitalists are the people that will sell us and will allow us into our next investment. Therefore, we need to be good partners in that ecosystem. And we as a media company have to have very good relationships with the and be valuable partners to the venture capitalist community all over the world. And this is why we set up our investment team in a way whereby we have a team in New York, a team in London, a team in Singapore, and at the headquarters in Munich. So basically, we're trying to be very, very close to the VC community. Third, passions. We pick verticals we understand, we don't do anything else. There's a great business to be made investing in the Internet of Things, into virtual reality, into automotive, self-driving cars, you name it. The problem is we don't really understand the space, and there's a ton of people who understand it a lot better than we do. Therefore, we stick to what we know, and that is around those circles of passion. The next is an organizational point, which I think is tremendously important. Publishing teams are good at publishing, investment teams are hopefully good at investing. Therefore, run your investments not out of the publishing side of business. Make that independent, because you will need to disrupt yourself. And I think we heard today from Schibsted very much that this is how success is being built. And my last point really is, we are deep believers in knowledge sharing. There's nothing better than, if you do an investment, to be able to draw upon experts in the Burda network, but never ever approach your investments from a view where you say, I'm now investing to create synergies. Because as all experienced conference goers know, the only true synergy that exists is gin and tonic. Thank you very much. And I'm happy to take some questions.
Okay, if you have a question, you know the drill. Just raise your hand and we'll take it from there. And can I, while we wait for that, can I just get a sense from you of whether you're getting incoming inquiries? Are you now known as the kind of investor that those VCs can approach when they're ready to exit? And is that something that's happened organically, or have you gone out there and said, look, we're in this marketplace and we want to hear from you if you've got an interesting proposition for us?
Good question. It's a bit of both, really. We started doing our first investments together with Excel, I think, in 2007, with Union Square Ventures in 2008. So we've been a natural partner with Inside Capital now in 2014. So we've been a natural partner over the years, but it's been a very closely held secret. So what we're now doing is we're actually spreading the story, and we're becoming more of a partner of that ecosystem.
So anyone here who's got a company to sell you, presumably you're setting up a stall immediately afterwards?
Absolutely, I'm back there in the left-hand corner.
That's good. Okay, can I ask you please to thank Martin Weiss, unless there are any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.